Russian Ark, directed by Alexander Sokurov and released in 2002, is the first film to be shot in one single, uninterrupted, 96-minute take. I admire the heck out of it for its marvelous cinematography, music, and set pieces, and for pulling off the staggering logistics of coordinating so many people and events so perfectly in one take. The filming alone was a phenomenal achievement. But do I like Russian Ark? Definitely, though I'm afraid it took me a while to get the movie. Russian Ark is set and filmed in the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, which used to be the Tsar's Winter Palace, and follows the European, a 19th-century diplomat, most likely the intrepid Marquis de Custine, played by Sergei Dredin, and a 21st-century filmmaker, as they wander through its halls and literally pass through various time periods. This is essentially a time travel movie, as nearly every passageway brings the two main characters to a different point across 3 centuries of Russia's past. For about the first third, Russian Ark didn't really do anything for me. It was gorgeous to look at, but I found it to be a little dull, and it mostly felt like an old man pottering about in an art gallery. I also noticed a fairly major technical problem in the sound design, which was done separately from the image in this part of the film. The dubbing doesn't always match up with Dredin's mouth, and it's sometimes difficult to tell who is speaking, especially if there is more than one speaker, or if the speakers are out of the frame. I didn't really find the film very engaging early on. But soon Russian Ark became more interesting, as the main characters entered time periods of even greater grandeur and busyness, and even approached royalty and nobility of Russia's history. Quite a bit of the history depicted in the film went over my head, as I'm more interested in the Russian Revolution and Cold War history, but watching Tsar Nicholas II and his family was a very sobering sight, knowing what would eventually happen to them, and the film's journey across time is intriguing, often somber, and quite engrossing in an elegant, dreamlike way. We are watching snippets of vibrant lives, and the beauty and authenticity of it all keeps you riveted. As the rest of the film sucked me in, the first part became clearer, and a satisfying little character arc begins to emerge. The European is initially aloof and dismissive toward Russian art and culture, having never even learned Russian, but as he views more paintings and admires their music, craftsmanship, and grand ceremonies, he develops more respect for Russia, until he finally decides to stay in this foreign time and country he now loves. Russian Ark is superficially a show and tell of Russia, but this is a framing device for the personal growth of the European and ourselves, as we learn more about Russian history and culture and gain more appreciation for what this country has to offer. The Europeans' joy at the merriment and sense of family in the Great Ball of 1913 mirrors our own, and this extravagant, massive ball scene at the climax was an absolute pleasure to watch. Simply teaching us about Russia, as the film could be viewed as a pseudo-documentary, and making love to our eyes with the art design would have been enough, but I like how Sokurov integrated some subtle character development into the European's journey through the museum. You may get more out of the film if you know more about Russian history, but that's not the film's fault. The first third is a little dull, and the slightly off sound design is a mild nuisance, but Russian Ark is a film of such technical brilliance, and filled with such beauty and fascinating, entrancing spectacles, that you simply must see it. Russian Ark earns 4 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.